Hi, I'm Britt.
And my name is Alissa.
And this is SkeleTales.
And this is the podcast where we strive to answer the age-old question of, is my dead grandma watching me?
Alissa, you know how when you're cooking dinner sometimes and you're chopping those onions, and then you're just crying.
Oh my God, every time.
And you're like, oh, the onion fumes. Not onion fumes.
What?
Dead grandma.
Dead grandma. Well, I should be crying about her.
Exactly. She says, Alissa, you're not grieving me enough, so I must haunt this onion to feel the tears of love from you.
Oh, grandma, I'm sorry. Honestly, I will cry regularly for you if it takes away the pain of chopping onions. I can't handle it. I just start closing my eyes and I'm blindly chopping. I literally will close my eyes with a big ass knife in my hand, just chop away and hope I'm chopping onions because I can't see the tears, grandma, the tears. Or is the soul of grandma's...
Oh, she's really...
stuck in onions. That's what they are. They've become possessed.
Layer after layer. She's down in the center. Fun tip I learned when I was working at a coffee shop randomly. If you're chopping onions and you light a match... and then blow it out, the sulfur smell, and you put that, smoky sulfur smell under your nose. It's supposed to help with the tears of the onion. I mean,
I've heard that grandma. Too. Or if you of grandma, yeah, it's supposed to get rid of those grandmas, those grandma ghosts.
It's like incense, kind of where you're just smoking the sage, but it's the sulfur of a match.
I've also heard if you light a candle, it will you burn a candle next to the onion cut in area or something. It'll work.
Onions are totally fucking haunted. Light the candles.
Exactly. You're exorcising the spirits from the onion. Yes. And you didn't even know it.
We didn't even know it until tonight. You're welcome, folks.
I am curious, at the coffee shop, did you have a lot of Onion flavored coffee?
Also,
wasn't it attached to an oil change shop? It was a Jiffy Lube coffee shop onion farm.
Oh, the Lube and Latte. I wonder if that's still there. No, different coffee shop. No, this one was attached to a bakery.
Oh, okay. That makes more sense. That tracks. Hey, Britt. That's not what our podcast is about.
No. Oh, yeah, we got to talk about that stuff. We talk about spooky stories.
Yeah, premonitions, psychic phenomena.
Hauntings.
Ghosts.
Time travel.
Witches?
Oh, yeah.
Time travel. Alternate dimensions. UFOs.
Yes, we did talk about that.
In past tense. We have, in the past, talked about UFOs. We talk about it all. Secret families, stalkers, true crime. Let's hear it. Hey, send us your stories. I'm going to start this off at the beginning of the episode because I can send us your stories. If any of these things, any keywords are triggering a memory, shadow men, anything, the Hat Man, cryptids, Bigfoot. Send us a story. If any of that is ooh, that reminds me of something, we will take it.
Love it.
Yep.
Yes.
Please. But today... What are you talking about today, Britt? And are you going to go first?
Well, yeah, we didn't talk about who's going first. I have a whole mash of just cool stories.
Mashed potatoes.
Mashed potatoes. That's what I got. I need some mashed potatoes.
I really, really didn't like how you talked about UFOs in the past tense earlier. So I do have a little UFO story. Sorry, guys. I won't keep this going
keeping the
for
UFO
too long. But I did get an email about it, so I'm gonna read it.
Okay, you have a UFO story?
I do,
but
I'm not telling you. Yep.
Nope.
Won't tell you.
I'm gonna tell mine first. I'm just gonna hop in.
You do it.
I got my story from my friend Becca. I have known Becca since I was 5 years old. We went to kindergarten together. We lived down the street from each other.
Oh, Trinity Way?
No, even before that, Sheridan Road.
Whoa.
We used to play light as a feather, stiff as a board. She was always the one that got lifted up, though, because she was teeny tiny. And so I recently hung out with Becca for the first time in a while, and she was telling me about a trip she took to New Orleans in January. And I was like, New Orleans is haunted as fuck. Please tell me that you got a story. And she's like, I do. And I've been waiting to tell you. Have you ever been to New Orleans before?
I've never been. I avoid hot, humid places.
So I don't know what you know, but there's Bourbon Street's like the main hop in town. That's where on Mardi Gras they like throw the beads. Yes. And there's voodoo. And there's what else is there? Jazz. Yeah. Zydeco.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Zydeco. I mean crocodiles. Right?
All the good things.
I know of New Orleans.
Yes. Okay.
Oh, yeah. But I've never been, and I would like to go at some point, even though I don't love humid.
So, January, Becca and her husband, Pete, decide to go to New Orleans. They bought these tickets pre-COVID, so they had to use them by January or they expired. So, they're just like... They actually ended up getting their shots in January, so they're like, we're vaccinated. Let's fucking go to New Orleans, man.
Yeah, do it.
Let's go. So January, hop on a plane, go to New Orleans. And now Becca was thinking ahead. She knew I started the podcast. She goes, I'm going to get a good story for Britt. They book a hotel at a haunted hotel called the Hotel Monteleone. And it is one of the most haunted places in New Orleans. And she said, not only that, I want a room on the most haunted floor in this haunted hotel, the 14th floor, because it was auspicious, bad luck to have a 13th floor because 13's a bad luck number. So they just straight up don't even have a 13th floor at this hotel. It is only the 14th floor, but the 14th floor, haunted as hell. So you take the elevator, 11th floor, 12th floor, 14th floor, ding, they have their room.
What? But it's still the 13th floor. You can't just trick math and, right? Like if you counted it from the outside windows, it's the 13th, correct?
Little did they know. I know. And so this floor is supposedly haunted. And so she's excited. Now the hotel is in New Orleans, but it is not like it's not off Bourbon Street. So it's like not near the main street of
Historic.
Partying or whatever.
Okay.
Yeah. They go there and they get to eat good food, but there's no live music because of COVID, and there's not even a lot of partying going on because of COVID too. The night in particular that we're talking about, Becca and Pete go and have dinner. They didn't even drink at dinner, which is kind of a sin in New Orleans, but anyways, they head back to the hotel and then they get ready for bed. They go to bed. That night, in the middle of the night, Becca wakes up to some really loud partying going on outside their window. And it's like loud talking, loud music, and it's like loud jazzy music. And she's like, oh my gosh, New Orleans. Like, and she's laying there. And as she's laying there, she's waking up more and more. And she's like, I don't think I can go back to sleep with this loud racket outside my window. And so she sits up and she's about to wake up Pete to be like, what should we do about this loud music? And she sits up and all of a sudden the music fades away and it's silent again in her room. Oh, that's weird. Okay. And so she's like, great, they stopped partying. Or like she just chucked it off as being kind of strange and went back to sleep. The next morning, she goes over to their window. She's just looking out at New Orleans. She realizes, oh yeah, we're on the 13th floor. She looks down and they are outside the parking garage of the hotel. And it finally clicks in her head. Wait, how can I hear loud talking and music coming from outside the window when we're on the 13th floor and we're not even on a busy street? We're at the parking garage. And then she's like, gets so excited. She's like, my first paranormal experience. And she's just so jazzed. Now, all of the other crazy haunted things that are supposed to happen at the Monteleone, like the creepy children running up and down the hallways, or the broken elevator. None of that happened. She just had some fun jazz music playing outside her window.
Creepy children running up and down the hallways is not the kind of ghost I want to see.
Yes.
Running, we already know. Running is not welcome. Child ghosts, also very creepy. Yeah, no, I think that's a win. And it wasn't like pumped up underneath her bed because it's the most haunted. Like it wasn't a placed speaker, a strategically.
No, well, so then I was like, maybe it was coming from in the hotel. Like maybe it was just another room partying or whatever. And she was like, no, it was, I mean, she's like, you've stayed in hotels before. Like, you know, when there's loud ruckus happening outside your window. And
you're right. Oh my gosh. True.
It was just like that. And she said she was like, even the music sounded almost old timey jazz too, not just like
Zydeco.
Yeah, some Zydeco. So just out of curiosity, I was like, I love a good haunted hotel. I just wanted to look it up a little bit.
Yeah.
So the Hotel Monteleone was built in 1880. I actually don't know when it was built, but it was bought by Monteleone in the 1880s. Oh. And it's haunted by,
I was just going to say, because I had said, it's not in the historic district. So I think I wasn't clear. That's historic. That's old. 1880s. That's really old. It's an old historic building.
Yes, it's old and historic. It's just not on Bourbon Street.
Okay.
Which I had to preface so you knew that like it
was not
it's
feasible. Not loud and partying there. Okay, got it.
The hotel is supposedly haunted by a little boy named Maurice.
Maurice.
The story goes that the wealthy Berger family stayed at the hotel, and Jacques and Josephine had their little boy Maurice would often stay at the hotel. And but they would always leave the little boy with the nanny, and they'd go off and party into the night. One night, they go off and they party. They leave Maurice with the nanny, and he was just a toddler at the time, and he developed a very sudden fever while they were gone, and ended up having convulsions and dying in the room.
Oh, no.
The parents come home from their night out on the town to their child having passed away. And so Josephine was determined to, I mean, this is the late 1880s. Yeah. So like this is like the era of, seances. Exactly. Yeah. Okay. So every weekend they would have a seance on the 14th floor, because there's no 13th floor. They would have this seance, the floor where Maurice died. And then eventually, I think after several weeks, they had a hit. Maurice appeared to his mother near the room where he had died in a striped shirt typical for children in that era. And Maurice told his mother, "Mommy, don't cry. I'm fine." And then the vision left, and Josephine was in tears, and she was overjoyed about getting to see her departed son. But people say they'll like get off first of all, the elevator will just stop at the 14th floor. Like say we're going to the 16th floor. Nope. It automatically stops at the 14th floor randomly. One couple was really drunk one night. They were on like the 16th floor or something. Stops on the 14th floor. They get off thinking it's the 16th floor because they're not paying attention, and they're going down and they're like winding down the hallways, and then they stop and see this like several children playing in the hallway, and they're all in these old like 1920s attire, and all the children stop and stare at the couple going down the hallway, and the couple nopes the fuck out of there. They run back to the elevator and go back to their sobered them up really good.
Ooh, I love that. I hate that. I love that happened to them. I don't want it to happen to me.
In a drunk stupor.
Oh my God.
These like pile of kids just being like, we were playing.
Because like a memory ghost, we talk about those and they're just carrying on. I could see that happen. But once you get the ghost's attention and they turn towards you, what's going to happen?
I know. Okay, so I'm all about first person experiences. Yes. And so I ended up getting a review off of TripAdvisor of the hotel. And can I read it to you?
Oh, please do. Love it.
This is from an Australian. I'm Heading back to New Orleans on business early May, I stayed at Hotel Monteleone 2 years ago. The hotel is unique and very comfortable. This is not your usual cookie cutter hotel. Nope, cutter hotel.
You're doing great. I have to close my eyes because I can't watch you do the accent. I just have to listen to it. I'm getting really distracted watching you.
Okay.
There's definitely a nice southern twang to it. It's Southern Australian.
South Australian.
Yeah, South Australian accent. All right. Keep going.
So be prepared for... Oh my God, this is so distracting. For lots of old world charm. This is why I don't do accents. Okay. The bed was super comfortable and the furniture old world quality. Now, what I'm about to say is totally out of character, as I'm not a believer. But my second night, a 3-night stay, included an unwanted guest. I was woken by what felt like a great weight on my chest. I couldn't move as someone or something was holding me down. I struggled and can say with hand on heart that I was awake and not affected by anything illegal. The thing fought me back with me for what felt like minutes, but was probably 10 seconds. In front of me was what I would say looked like fog, but had no smell. The thing disappeared as quickly as it came. I got out of bed, turned the lights on, and nothing. The next morning, I spoke with the desk clerk, who explained that this happens often, but no one is ever hurt. How cool is that? So, when you check into this hotel, like me, you might get someone sharing your room. For me, it was initially very frightening, but now I can't wait to go back. Great hotel, great service, and a ghost thrown in for free. TripAdvisor. You're red in the face right now.
Oh my God. That was beautiful. It was so good. That accent. Holy shit. Crocodile Dundee 4, starring Britt.
Crocodile Dundee ain't got nothing on me.
No. Wait. I got tripped up on a couple things.
I'm so sorry. This is probably where the accent fails me, is because you probably didn't actually hear the story.
I did. He said that there was a fog, but it didn't smell. Mm-hmm. Does fog normally smell? What is he talking about? And I also
maybe a fart.
Do you see your farts? Do your farts appear as full body apparitions to you?
Things are different in Australia.
It's upside down. You're right. Also, I like how he was like, I was not on anything illegal.
Yeah, I don't think anything's illegal in New Orleans.
I think you are mistaken. I think. Yeah.
It's like the Wild West.
Well, so New Orleans is not Sin City, correct? Is it?
It's in Louisiana.
No.
What did you say?
Is it? It's not Sin City. That's Vegas, right?
Correct.
Is it the city that never sleeps, or is that also Vegas?
I think that's also Vegas.
Just checking.
I don't know what the slogan is for New Orleans.
Jazztown, USA, something. Sounds right. Sure.
The
Big D. The Big Easy.
The Big Easy. Do you want to say the Big D?
Yeah. No, the Big Deep. The Big D would be Florida. Like, that's a given. Yeah, exactly. 100%. That one sounded like sleep paralysis, but he was fighting it.
I know. And the visualization of fog and but the fact that it happened in the haunted hotel, I mean, and I don't know, you never know.
I really thought Hat Man might be making an appearance here. I was like, oh shit.
That would have been, I would have like interrupted Dead Grandma bit, and I would have been like, I'm telling my story immediately if it was Hat Man.
Your new boyfriend, Hat Man.
Oh yeah, man.
Yeah, you're a little obsessed, a little stocky.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay. You're gonna start haunting Hat Man. Good. Man, is that all you have with the hotel? What's the name of it?
I mean, I have little ones about like little stories like TVs turning on randomly and weird noises, thumps and bumps and broken glass sounds, but nothing that like I felt like what can top that Australian trip
really nothing. And
really nothing. So
I feel bad for poor little Maurice, baby boy Maurice, who and their parents.
Baby Maurice. Also, it does make me think about a little toddler named Maurice, which is highly entertaining.
I have comments.
He's like already has balding hair and it's gray. What's your story? Do you have a story?
Yes, Britt, I do have a story. And did I say I was going to talk about UFOs yet? Did I say I was going to start with UFOs or end with UFOs? I can't remember what I was going to do now. Shit.
You did not say, but you said you teased us that you have a UFO.
So there's a thing called UFO Twitter. Did I tell you about this? Hashtag UFO Twitter. If you are into the UFO and UAP world at all, apparently there's this whole hashtag Twitter on the Twitters that people, that's where you find it. That is the place to be. It is the hot club. It is the city that never sleeps on Twitter about UFOs. And I had put out a call for stories on UFO Twitter a couple weeks ago, and I did get a response. And this one comes from Sarah. And Sarah says, when I was a little girl around 4 years old, I was playing outside with my brother. We were roaming the woods just beyond the tree line in my backyard. I was walking behind my brother by about 10 to 20 feet. I looked to my right and saw a white, almost cartoon-looking hand waving from side to side at me. I tried yelling out to my brother to have a look at it, but it was like I couldn't speak. No sound would come out. I think about this so often. I wish there was a way to make my brain remember it more clearly. I do remember telling my parents I saw quote unquote Mickey Mouse's hand waving at me in the woods because to 4-year-old me, every cartoon was Mickey Mouse, I guess. It had longer, thinner hands in reality, but bright white. Years later, I was probably a teenager, when my dad was watching something about aliens/UFOs, and I can remember something making me think back to that incident. I've been interested in the topic since. And the title was Alien, 1989, Cape Breton Island in Nova Scotia.
Interesting. So was the hand coming out of the woods?
That's what it sounds like.
Or was it out of midair?
It says that it was coming out of the woods, hand waving at me in the woods. I saw Mickey Mouse's hand waving at me.
What's so interesting is if I were a young one seeing that, I would think like ghost, right? Or her little 4-year-old brain was like Mickey Mouse.
Yeah, it was like Mickey Mouse.
Bright white cartoon-like hand.
Yeah, so I mean, that right there, I think says it wasn't like real life. Like it wasn't real life. It wasn't like a real something that you see every day, right? And there's not, you know, as a little kid. I don't know what the woods look like there, but
can we just imagine a UFO? And it's like on Earth for the first time. And it's like, oh, this is great. Oh, I see a human. Wait, read the book. What are you supposed to do when you see a human? And you're supposed to wave. Oh, great. Okay. And it sticks its hand out of the bush and it's like, hi.
I thought you were going to say, can you imagine if like aliens were actually all looked like Mickey Mouse or something? They're all like, hey there, take me to your leader.
Oh my God, I love that so much more.
Or, you know, because like it's this big secret, like we've all known, they've known forever what aliens really look like. And the cartoons are really just true life depictions of aliens. I'm sure that is a conspiracy theory somewhere. But what I was going to say about this, when she opens her mouth, it almost reminds me of like a dream, you know, where you like open your mouth to scream and you can't scream, or you try to run and you're
the sleep paralysis
stuck in one place. I just love that her little child mind made sense of it in a way that her adult self was like, wait, that definitely wasn't Mickey Mouse's hand, like in the woods, and it was skinnier.
What
and
was
white.
that?
So I was like, oh, Cape Breton Island. I wonder if there were any UFO sightings up there. Just up the island a bit in Shag Harbor, they have a very, very famous UFO sighting. This article is from CTV News or the Canadian Press. I don't know. It's all Canadian. It's in Canadian. I don't understand.
It's strange language. Canadian.
So the first frantic callers to reach the RCMP were clear. Something had crashed in the waters off of Shag Harbor, Nova Scotia. It was around 11 p.m. on the night of October 4th, 1967. Most witnesses thought it was a doomed aircraft. Among those who saw the string of flashing lights on that clear, moonless night were 3 RCMP officers, scores of fishermen, and airline pilots flying along the province's rugged southwest coast. But a series of searches turned up nothing. No wreckage, no bodies, no clues as to what really happened that night 50 years ago. To be sure, the most compelling evidence comes from eyewitnesses like Lori Wickens, now a 67-year-old former fisherman. There was 4 lights in a row and they were going on and off, says Wickens, at the time of a 17-year-old. At the time, a 17-year-old driving home to Shag Harbor with a friend and 3 young women. One would come on, then 2, 3, and 4, and they'd all be off and on for a second. I lost it. Shit. I gotta get into my accent. Okay. One would come on, then 2, 3, and 4, and they'd all be off for a second and come back on again. Sure, he was about to witness an airline disaster. Wickens found a phone booth and called the local RCMP detachment. Questions were asked about his sobriety, but he wasn't drunk, and he was sure about what he saw. Several other people called the Mounties that night. They all had the same story. Soon afterwards, Wickens was among a dozen or so people gathered at the water's edge, watching in amazement as a glowing orange sphere about the size of a city bus bobbed on the waves about 300 miles from shore. Nope, meters.
300 miles?
Because it's Canada.
Yes. So that's the equivalent of a football field?
Ooh. Football. 300 meters, yards, 100-yard dash. 400 meters is the distance around a track.
5Ks.
3 miles, 26.2 miles is a marathon. Minus, I don't know, 300 meters. What is?
Divide that by 13.
And I think you got 300 meters. So I hope everyone has a very clear picture of this distance now, because I think we pretty much clarified that. At 11:20 p.m., it slipped beneath the surface.
It's enough to where you can see a city bus.
It is. At 11:20 p.m., it slipped beneath the surface without a sound. 3 of those at the wharf were Mounties. One of them, called the Rescue Coordination Center in Halifax, a Coast Guard cutter, was immediately dispatched to conduct a search. Before the ship arrived, volunteer searchers aboard 2 fishing boats soon spotted a long trail of bubbling yellow foam on the calm waters, but no wreckage. A squad of Royal Canadian Navy divers later failed to turn up any clues after a 3-day scan of the harbor floor, according to official military records. To this day, Wickens has no idea what he saw. So, what do you think, Britt?
I have a great theory.
Let's hear it.
Did you ever watch that movie Signs with Mel Gibson? And he's a farmer, and there's a field, and they have the crop circles.
Yes, he has a daughter. Correct?
Uh-huh. daughter, and she's really picky about the water she drinks. And she's setting those water glasses all over the house. And she's like, I need another glass of water. And then she's very picky, and there's water glasses all over the place.
I vaguely remember this, but then I'm thinking the water glasses start vibrating, and then there's a T-Rex that comes ripping through the scene. But that's
close. An alien, they're aliens. The signs are from aliens. They come, and then the aliens, they're trying to defend themselves from these creepy dinosaur alien creatures.
Oh.
And the brother or uncle or somebody has a bat, and he's like trying to beat the alien with a bat, but in the process swings and hits a glass of water, and the water splashes on the alien, and the alien's like, ah!
Okay.
And the water kills the alien.
I vaguely remember that.
Where do you think that was inspired from? Perhaps a flying object that lands in the iciest of waters and goes psst, and turns into a yellow bubbly foam that's like, I can't touch water. The end.
Pretty much identical stories.
Yeah.
I don't remember. Do they really turn into a bubbly foam? Like a yellow?
You mentioned in your article.
In the movie.
No,
Oh, okay.
I don't remember what they turn into.
How many times have you seen that movie, Britt?
Twice, maybe, in my life.
Don't remember that. I don't save a lot of space for non-traumatic movies in my brain.
Well, because it's M. Night Shyamalan.
Nope, you got it. Just Shyamalan Ding Dong.
This is what Mike and I call him, but I was trying to remember his real name because we always call him Shyamalan Ding Dong. Anyways, so there's always that twist at the end, and so the twist was that the aliens existed, and then not only that, but that the water killed the aliens.
Okay,
and there's a sign.
That's a very thoughtful and insightful theory.
Thank you. Mm-hmm.
Mine,
okay,
is okay. Mine is better. So,
okay.
So no, I think there's a few things that were very interesting to me. One, they all thought it was a plane crash. Everybody thought it was a plane crash. They went to see a plane crash. Instead, they see a huge orange glowing bus floating in the water. So, as someone who doesn't really follow the whole UAP thing, Britt, one of the very first disclosure things back in the New York Times, they reported, one of the pilots, when they saw them, that there was a huge white vessel underneath the surface of the water that was about the size of a bus too. So this tracks. One of the theories, did we speak of this? They might be coming from the water. They might not be allergic to the water. They may be of the water.
No, I don't know. You know what I was really excited about is you were reading the article and you were like, evidence has been found. And I was like, white gloves floating from the surface of the water. Just like Mickey Mouse.
An audio recording of, we're going down.
If I was an alien and had all of the capabilities, honestly, undersea's the way to go. You're not going to be spotted.
Oh, yeah.
You can go into the deep depths and just like do your alien things down there and nobody's going to see you. Up in the sky, people are seeing you all the time.
Yeah.
Down below, nobody's seeing you.
I know.
Fish.
We can't reach them. There's so much of the sea that is unexplored. That and Antarctica or something too. That's another, or Antarctic Sea. Arctic Sea. What if they just saw the sun setting? They're like, we
debunked.
Canadians
see the sun so little, maybe.
Yeah, it just disappeared in the water.
Into the water.
Oh my God. So that's the story of
Canadians.
the Shag Harbor, Nova Scotia incident. And that will be proved true in the forthcoming weeks by the holy
disclosure. Yes, I have faith in that.
Space Force.
Alissa, do you remember our drunkisode?
Barely.
Of course you don't. No. But you had to edit it, so I know you had to re-listen in a sober state.
Surprisingly coherent, the reviews came in.
I was shocked that I wasn't slurring more. Anyways, I told a story about Mary, who haunted the Mississippi dorm rooms.
Oh, yes, Melancholy Mary, the lazy ghost.
Melancholy Mary. Well, I eventually got around to asking my sister-in-law, Vida, hey, do I have permission to tell this story? Even though I already told it. Not only did she give permission, but she reached out to her sister who actually experienced this and got me some more deets.
Okay.
So,
change me.
I've got a badass family is all I got to say.
Yeah.
So Rose writes in and she says, continuing about, maybe I should give a little brief snippet for people who haven't listened to the drunk episode. Maybe, first of all, listen to that episode, but don't pause now because we're in the middle of an episode. Let me give you a recap. Mary haunts an old dorm room pre-Civil War era. Sister of sister-in-law comes into the dorm, sees her roommate sleeping. Shh, doesn't make a noise. Leaves. Turns out, not a roommate. Melancholy Mary. Yeah. The ghost sleeping in the bed.
It was an old insane asylum.
Yeah.
Well, actually, maybe I'm not surprised now.
I think it may have actually been a war hospital. But anyways.
Okay, you hooked me with that, obviously, because that's what I latched onto.
I may have been drunk when telling the story. Embellishments may have been made.
Okay, I will not hold you to any of those facts then. Okay.
This actually comes from Rose, though. So,
Rose.
Her words. Rose, Vita's sister. Another time my roommate was out somewhere, some other friends and I decided to have a water gun fight. It was after dark. College days. That sounds like something fun. Okay. I went back to my dorm to get something and go to the bathroom, and the front window was open. While I was in the bathroom, I heard a lot of wind blowing. It sounded like my calendar hanging on my desk in front of the window was getting blown all over, and that my jacket that was on the chair fell off. When I came out of the bathroom, there was absolutely no sign of any wind at all. It freaked me out. I got whatever I'd gone back there for and hastily left the room, holding the door open for whoever else might have been leaving. I spent the rest of the weekend across campus in a friend's room. She has one more other little tidbit from around this time. She said most of the odd happenings were at the other end of the dorm. A friend of mine's desk light would turn on randomly at night. She'd heard footsteps and the sound of the door opening, but the door didn't open. She was a little annoyed. She said that if she were a ghost, she'd have typed up papers and left cookies. and that was a little recap of a story, but a little addition to Melancholy Mary haunting the dorms.
So you're trying to prove she wasn't she did some shit. She did some shit other than sleep all day. She did a little bit of haunting while she was away. She
wasn't just sleeping. She had I
guess I'll look at the calendar. Fine. I'll move this jacket. Fine.
Turn this light on.
Look at me, I'm haunting. Look at me. This is great. Well, maybe she's been I shouldn't be so hard on her. Maybe she's been stuck there for a really long time. She's like, I don't know how to get the fuck out of here.
Busy.
I'm just going to submit. I'm going to submit to this situation.
That's what I do. I would really, especially young dorm kids having a blast. I'd be like, I'm just going to mess with these guys like crazy.
Hell yeah. You know what?
Going to have some fun with this.
A lot of other stuff does happen, but everyone's just all drunk and they don't even notice. She's like, gosh, damn it. I am doing all this shit, and they're just blaming it on being drunk. They're like, I guess I did that. I guess I turned my bed over last night. That was weird. God. Okay, thanks for the follow-up, Rose. I appreciate that. I think we dug a little deeper. I think we've solved some things over there. She's doing a lot of haunting. Don't haunt
way more than
students.
sleeping. Maybe she doesn't have a choice.
Or highly distracted individuals. Waste of your time.
I do kind of like this one friend who's like, maybe just like make me some cookies, Mary, and type up this term paper for me.
Make yourself useful. But that's like the ghost that was like folding laundry or something. Some people do get those kinds of ghosts.
Mm-hmm.
Like, do you think you're assigned to haunting and you're like, damn it, how does this all work, right?
Oh. Fair.
Okay, so my next story, are we ready?
Yeah, I'm
for
ready.
My next story. Okay, my next story comes from my neighbor Sheldon, who I really put on the spot, and he delivered. Sheldon. So Sheldon grew up in a house that was built in 1913 in California, and one of the previous homeowners, the legend has it, died by suicide in the garage.
Okay.
And so some weird stuff did happen in the garage. Like one time his dad was out there and he was reaching for some clippers, like some to go clip the hedges or something. And as he was reaching up, the clippers fell off the shelf themselves and impaled him in his leg. And he was severely injured in his leg. No! And then he's like, he said it was, whenever the Challenger was, I think he said 1986, the Challenger. Yeah. Do you know what the Challenger is? The Challenger explosion? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Just making sure.
I mean, I'm not great with history, but I do know
so that. So the Challenger explosion, and Sheldon was like, I know it was a school day, and I think it must have been before school, but I was out in the garage and we had a TV that was like, it was like had the rabbit ears. It didn't have cable or anything. And it was one of the box TVs because it was like 1986, and the buttons, like it had kids, any listeners that the TVs they used to be cubes. They weren't flat, and then there weren't even remotes. So it was like a knob that you had to like crank and twist, almost like an oven knob. And then the buttons were like pull buttons. You had to like pull them out and push them back in. It was not
to turn it on and off.
Turn it on and off. And he said, I was sitting there watching the shuttle, like all the preparations and everything. Everyone was so excited about the Challenger. And right before blast off, the button pushed in on its own and the TV went off. And he's like, and I had to get up and go turn the TV back on physically, like pull the button.
Not like the remote.
No.
Yeah.
And it wasn't just like... it wasn't like an electrical short, you know? It was like the button popped.
You have to physically push it in. Yeah.
Which I thought was interesting. It was like, did the ghost know what was going to happen? He was like, you cannot see this. Like, don't watch this.
Little child Sheldon.
Yes,
don't
this
watch
is traumatizing. This will traumatize you. Which apparently I kind of tried to like look to see if there was any other stories about the Challenger, like any weird phenomena around the Challenger. And apparently that was quite a scarring event for many, many children, including the children that were students of the teacher who was sent into space. And it was like, that was quite a collective trauma. So aside from that, he said, you know, it was an old house and, you know, the lights used to go on and off, and, you know, maybe it was paranormal, but maybe it was just an old house. But, nothing too much more than that, but he was like, there was something up with the garage. It was a spooky spit place, and I just remember that happening like it knew what was going to happen. It knew. Yeah. And then I don't know what his dad did to deserve a freaking,
some dark energy there, getting stabbed with the shears.
But it almost seems like it was protecting Sheldon from the horrors that was to come with the Challenger, which he just turned the TV back on and watched it. But
or maybe he was a grumpy ass old man. He's like, nah, you don't need to be watching TV.
Turn off this space shit.
Turn it off.
What does he want to watch instead? Carson. I don't know. Johnny Carson. But that's my little story. It wasn't a long one. Sorry.
Sheldon. That was good, though. Here's the thing. I love a good spooky house. I love a good haunted story, especially when little kids get haunted. I don't know why, but it's like...
If you have any stories, did you have a strange experience as a child watching the Challenger explode?
Or Or any TV strangeness. Something coming out of the TV.
Ooh, anything.
I want to hear some New Orleans stories. You know there are some good Did you go on a ghost tour and walk through the cemetery and see something really, really traumatizing? Tell us that trauma.
Hell yeah. Have you stayed in that hotel and saw the little boys?
Yes. Yes. Ooh, any hotel haunting.
Yeah, any haunting. You know us. Send us anything. Literally, like it could be a moment. I want to hear your UFO stories. Now that it is coming out that these might be a real thing. I know. Okay. Even if I can't read them on the podcast because Britt doesn't let me anymore. I want to read them for my own enjoyment. And now this is a safe place. It's a safe space. We will use fake names. I don't, we'll do the things we have to do in order to keep you safe. Just send us your stories.
How would somebody email us?
Hey, you can email us at skeletalespodcast@gmail.com.
We have a phone number where you can leave a voicemail, 302-689-DEAD, 302-689-3323.
We have so many ways for you to DM us a message. We've got the Instagram, we're SkeleTales Podcast. Yes. We are on Facebook at SkeleTales and SkeleTales Community. We're over on the Twitters. It's SkeleTales Pod. We've got a merch shop.
Oh, yes. We have T-shirts, mugs, notebooks, stickers, keychains, all the fun SkeleTales swag, skeletales.etsy.com, or you can find it on our website, skeletalespodcast.com, or socials. We're also there.
And always like, love, review, share, tell your friends, tell your relatives, tell your neighbors, scream it from the rooftops. SkeleTales.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The more people that listen and review means that we boost up a little bit on that ratings chart, which means we get even more listeners and
more stories.
We want to keep doing this, and we want to keep telling stories. So yes, do it.
Okay. Oh, hey Britt.
Yeah,
Britt.
Oh, yeah.
Haunt you later.
Haunt y'all later.
Good night.
Good night.